some toys in here.
Alright, so today for review, going to go over the Masters Universe, Turtles of Grayskull, Samurai Skeletor figure. It's part of the Wave 3 or Series 3 Turtles of Grayskull line. Not much to say, it's one of the coolest looking Skeletor variants, if not figures, I've seen yet. It's part of the Turtles of Grayskull line. I mean, not only does he look, he's going to go good with that series, or it was a good choice as far as the design and colors, but I think you can mix them well with your regular Origins figures. I mean, look at this. Wow, incredible. So moving forward to the art and back of the packaging, really cool art as always. So yeah, we have our new Samurai Skeletor here fighting Donatello. Actually we have all the turtles in the background. We have Mikey, there's Leonardo, Raphael. So here's a new He-Man. He's going to come out Wave 4. I think he's like going to be called Stealth He-Man, I want to say. Little teases to that. Looks like they're inside the tunnels of Snake Mountain. And on the side you got like the sewers or something. Yeah, mixed combined with the two, I guess, which makes sense. The crossover. And here's our new Beastman as well, Samurai Beastman. And here's a closer look at Samurai Skeletor's bio. You want to pause and read that. And then dropping down the left-hand side just shows his weapons or action features. In this case, his new nunchuck-looking weapon called the Ku Sarai Gamma, I think they call it. That's a pretty neat accessory with the double ram heads and just the collars with the chain. And then moving over to the cross cell, these are all 4 figures part of this Wave 3 series of the Turtles of Grayskull line. And now, here's a quick look around with Samurai Skeletor and all his accessories out of package. Yeah, it's got to be one of my favorite Skeletors so far in the series. Okay, and before we take a look at Samurai Skeletor and all his accessories, this is the comic that he comes with, or all 4 figures in Wave 3 come with. And I already showed this in my last 3 Wave 3 figure reviews, so I'm not going to go crazy into it. It's called the Spirit of Grayshell. Going to flip through it real quick one more time. Alright, most people have already seen this on my channel, watch the reviews. So you can go check out those older videos, or other people have videos up with these as well. A lot of cool stuff going on. Right? It just shows everything with the newer figures. There's a new Merman, which I'm excited to get. I'll flip through it real quick. And then aside from the comic, the other thing I wanted to bring in a quick update to is Casey Jones. Now, he was the last figure I reviewed as part of the Wave 3 series. I liked him. A lot of people thought he was pretty cool. I did miss in my review that this weapon, the hockey stick and the translucent axe, actually goes together. I just figured that out once I was finished with the review. And somebody else in the comments also mentioned that they think it goes together as well. Yeah, pretty cool. I was wondering what this peg was for. I thought it snapped onto one of the hands with, or the bracers with the hands off, which it does, but yeah, it's neat. I just wanted to show that as well if you already checked out my review on him. And now, taking a closer look at Samurai Skeletor's head and head sculpt. Look at that face, head, and helmet. Man, that's incredible. A lot of cool detail in this figure. In early images or pics from what I've seen, it just didn't, it looked kind of bland. I'm like, another Skeletor variant. And they threw a helmet, did a little painting, but there's a lot of detail going on here for Turtles of Grayskull figure. That skull is awesome. Look at that. The paint. Yeah, the sculpt. Now the mouth is closed. Would have been cool if it had a little gap to it, or the jaw articulated or something like that. But, it is what it is. The way the eyes are sculpted in there, paint. It's got black paint, but yet the red glowing eyes inside the skull. I mean, they almost look like... I want to say they're reflective like the paint. I'm going to bring a little black light in. Check that out. It's pretty cool already. Yeah, reflect with light. Yeah, the helmet. You got a ram up top here. A little, I guess all part of skull painted silver. Look at these the horns up top. Or blades, rather. Really soft. Separate piece. Now, so you got the samurai helmet spinning it around. Yeah, look at it. Just not only sculpting at different levels of detail and paint all around it. All right, here's the look at the back. Same thing, got some like bone structure sculpted, like a spine. Going back to Skeletor again, like a painted green. And I think it's just one helmet. I don't know if these are separate pieces. And they look like they're just it's all part of the sculpt maybe, but painted different. Spinning them all around. So as far as the articulation with this helmet head, we look all the way left to right, go down about that far and back. Of course, it gets hindered by this back part of the helmet. Now, it looks like the skull is a separate piece, but not a full skull. So I'm going to remove the helmet for a second. So yeah, you can just see, it's almost like this piece, it's sculpted, but kind of plug and glued onto the main piece of the helmet. If you want to remove it, you could, I guess. But yeah, it's not like a skull and the helmet over the skull. Again, there's a close look at all the details and everything. So, yeah, I guess it works. It would have been cool once again to have a full Skeletor skull design like this with the paint and the helmet would come off. But a lot of these Turtles of Grayskull figures, it's hit or miss with the helmets. They're either pegged or glued on, or they come off or they don't. So it's okay for what it does. But yeah, I love it. I love the design of his head and the face sculpt. So putting the head back on, moving down to the butt and chest area. So now he has a new, cloak that sits over the shoulders. You got to take the head off to remove it, which we'll do in a little bit. But yeah, it sits over the shoulders. Really cool sculpting. And it is a separate piece, not part of the armor is what I'm saying. Spinning him around for a second. Look at that. It almost looks like a piece of fabric, depending on the lighting conditions. But yeah, just molded into flat or a glossy black color. A lot of cool detail. You can see all just the lacing in it, the tears, the wrinkles and stuff like that. Really flexible. Even on the backside, pretty cool. You can move all around over the shoulders and stuff like that. I like the different, just the textures and how it's cut to one side, like it has battle damage or something like that. Pretty neat accessory. So and and you can see, okay, there's a fur, how it comes across the shoulder there. So it is different. It's cut here. I like it. So moving down from this cloak piece, he has a new Skeletor style armor with the bat. So it's different from the vintage inspired Skeletor. A whole new design. Just molded in this bright green plastic color, which it doesn't glow in the dark. It's reflective. I'll shut the lights off a little bit and I'll put a black light to show you. But it has some additional paint details there, even on the steel crosses in the center of the chest. You see the cross straps here, and again, pulling this over, he has these iconic shoulder straps that comes off from that piece. Spinning him around again, just look at the back, and you can see where it pops apart, which we'll get into that soon. So as far as the articulation with everything, we already went over the head. You can spin at the waist, come apart at the waist, right? This doesn't hinder anything. Moving on to the arms. So yeah, just typical Origin style arms. I like the color of the Skeletor too, for variants, stuff like that. It's a different color. As far as the articulation with the arm, everything we've seen before, and go up, down, all the way forward, back. Can bend all the way up at the elbow and straighten out the elbow, spin at the elbow. Can bend all the way to the face. Moving down to the forearm. Now he has these newer guards, which come off really easy. They're identical on both sides. Have some spines here, and yeah, molded in this fluorescent bright green plastic, but have some extra, the black color details here. Has He-Man style bracers on both sides. So going back to these guards, the right side, let me see, okay, just pop right up the arm like that, and going to the left side. So I already mentioned the left side's all the same. Let's remove that. There we go. So there's a better look at the arms with the bracers. He comes with two semi-open weapon gripping hands, I call them. You can spin, go in and out in a hinge joint, and the left side's all the same. And here's a little close look at those half wrist gauntlets or bracers that come off, right? And they're identical on both sides, and pretty soft for the most part. You can see how they clip on or off the arms. Okay, so jump back over Skeletor once again. Let's just finish up the waist and leg articulation before we break everything down. So yeah, it's this really, again, a really cool samurai style armor belt. Has 4 individual pieces, as you can see, right? The front, the back, the sides. I mean, even the extra details in the plating, sculpting, all the extra details on the top of the belt. Really good job. Cool. Typical Origin style, belt loincloth under there. There's a better look at the back. So as far as the articulation with the legs, with that on, go all the way out with a split. Go kick forward, go back, bend at the knee, spin at the knee. The legs are all the same as far as the articulation. And then he has these newer, like, steel shin guards or boots, kind of half boots. Doesn't cover the foot. Yeah, that's a neat design too. All right, so you can of course spin at those on both sides. If you want to remove them, you can put regular feet on. And then as far as he has this regular creature Skeletor feet. And as far as the articulation, go up, down, rock side to side. And again, right side's all the same. These two, I like the colors of them. They match. Yeah, same color as the wrist bracers on the body and the plates on the helmet. All right, so moving back up to the chest and butt area, let's start breaking some of this armor down. I'm going to remove the cloak first. So, of course, once again, I got to remove the head. And then with the head off the neck, we can pull his cloak piece off. And now there's a close look at that piece off the body. Again, yeah, really cool detail. It's for a rubber cloak that they added with the Skeletor. And now, here's another look with Skeletor once again with the cloak removed and the head back on. So if you didn't want to use that, you didn't like it, or want to use it for another figure, so what he look like. So here's a little close look at that armor on the body, spinning him around. Here's the back. And then to remove the main armor with the cloak off. So going back to the areas with the pegs in the back, you can see how you pop it. And I think, see if I can pull this over the head without removing the head again. It looks like you can if you wanted to. Yeah, probably easier to remove the head, but there you go. So it's going to pull over the body like that, and I'm going to break the waist in half, and then pull this piece off. And then while I have the waist apart, let's remove this lower samurai armor off. And now here's a closer look at his main armor off the body. So yeah, just again, flat, you know, the plastic colors I mentioned, has the bat symbol sculpted in there, painted. Right, you can see how it assembles and comes off and how flexible it is. And now here's a little closer look at that samurai armor skirt that I removed off the hips. So again, you can just see how it's molded. The extra details I already mentioned, of plating and stuff like that, front and back, sides. Here's another look at Skeletor with all the armor, the wrist gauntlets, and everything removed beside the helmet head. So if you wanted to leave him with that setup or put some kind of different regular Skeletor armor on him, you could. That's what he look like. And now with the armor and everything still off, of course, I removed the head and it's the regular Skeletor head on this body with the new color. So if you want to see what that looks like. And now here's another look with the same Samurai Skeletor body, but with some other additional Skeletor parts on. So these are the Skeletor parts from the Screech 2-pack. So of course I put that head on. It's a different hood. You know, it has some shading and stuff like that. Now this one has an articulated jaw, which I always liked as far as the Skeletor. Have typical Origin style cross armor on again from that pack with the overspray, different highlights in it. The belt. Put the sword in hand and put some purple boots on. So you want to take a look at that. The only thing I didn't change, or you can, is the wrist bracers. Now if you were bringing this other body in, change your arms out, obviously it's to have these, you know, the little bones on the forearms like Skeletor always had. Yeah, you can because it's different color skin. Okay, so I brought the Screech 2-pack Skeletor body in. Obviously put all the parts back on that body with the light blue skin, this color that we're all familiar with Skeletor, or at least what this one comes with. The other thing I want to try too is put that cloak on this Skeletor, particular, you know, yeah, regular Origin style Skeletor with the armor on, see what that looks like. Yeah, it looks pretty cool on Origin style Skeletor, especially the Screech 2-pack one with the articulated head and the colors. And finally, moving forward with Samurai Skeletor's weapons and accessories. So yeah, he comes with this cool pair of nunchucka looking, or they call it the Kusara Gamma, if I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah, really cool weapon. So yeah, it has a blade in the back of the ram skull. Obviously, has a ram skull, very reminiscent to his ram staff. Cool, it has a real link chain, plastic. It's not metal, but it's not like a solid, you know, a molded piece, which they could have did that. They also did the same thing with Michelangelo's nunchucks, which is cool. And yeah, double-ended ones. Yeah, so it reminds me of a pair of nunchucks / tonfa blades / ram skull bladed weapons. And then he also gets a vial of, the turtle ooze. So, once again, bringing Samurai Skeletor back into the picture, all done up with his gear and everything. Let's put these weapons in the hand. So, you know, you kind of hold it one hand like he's swinging them around like a pair of nunchucks. And if you got two of these, you can have two of them. But for the most part, looks like we could just put one of these in one hand. And then you can put the other side in the other if you can articulate the arm enough. It's like, should be enough chain, but it's kind of tricky. And here's a quick look at that setup. Yeah, you can't really do too much with these. It'd be cool if the chain was a little longer. You know, when you go to spread them out, make it like a wider weapon, just falls out of his hands. It's not practical. So I'm just going to put them in one hand. Then I'll bring in this toxic, mutated turtle ooze in the vial. Let's put it in the other hand. Yeah, and that's about it. Put the vial in one hand, this weapon in the other. Again, if you had two of them, you can put one in each hand if you wanted to. And of course, I just put that weapon in the left hand, the vial ooze in the right, something different. And the other thing I want to do too is I'm going to show off the lights, and I want to put a black light on all the armor and see how he reflects. Now we have the lights off. Let's put some black light on him. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Check that out. All that fluorescent, the armor pieces anyway, how to reflect under a black light. Even the body. Well, it's not reflective, but it throws off a different color with this light. Pretty cool setup. And now, moving forward, a couple comparisons and a little bit of mixing and matching with parts. So, for the most part, as far as mixing and matching, which I did early, so we tried a different color body on the Skeletor. We tried this, or basically made this body another Skeletor with the Screech 2-pack parts from what I showed. So that's pretty cool. But here's a comparison between Shredder and this new Samurai Skeletor. The only thing I'm going to do with these two is let's mix the heads around, because Shredder's head goes good on anything, and I'm curious to see what just that Skeletor helmet head alone would look like on the Shredder body and setup. And here's a quick look at that setup or head swap. So yeah, obviously we have the Samurai Skeletor with the Shredder head, which, yeah, looks really cool. Again, I love this helmet, works well on anything. Articulation works well, and then I just drew the Skeletor head on the Shredder setup. But the whole point of me to this figure is exactly how he comes with the helmet, the setup, the color body. I think that works best. But I figured I'd try that for fun. And now, taking a quick look at the Samurai Skeletor setup again. Obviously, I took the Shredder head back off him. Yeah, I left his head off Shredder, which is going to go back on him. And I just drew the regular Origins first release Skeletor head on this body setup. So if you like that with the cloak and, yeah, the overall setup, that's what it looked like. Now, we already converted him to a Skeletor with his arm and everything, but I didn't show this yet. But anyway, so moving on to another comparison and maybe mix and matching of certain parts. So once again, we have our Origins Samurai Skeletor against our Masterverse Horde Skeletor. Yeah, it's amazing how close the colors as far as the skin tones look. Now, unfortunately, so this battle skirt thing, it would have been cool if it had a little buckle to come off in the back. Obviously, you have to break the waisting part to get this off, because I want to put it on the Horde Skeletor. Now, if you want to customize, you can make a cut in this, and yeah, it gets into cutting and gluing. You'd probably still have to remove this loincloth skirt thing, and with the with that belt. There's a way to do that with heating and removing the lower legs. It's a, yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, it's a sort of a major custom job and could be tricky to do. So I don't know if we're going to be able to do that, but I wanted to see how the heads and everything else would work. So first thing I wanted to do is let's try, now he has a cloth robe or cloak, which is pretty cool. So let me take that off in his head and see what we can try on the Origins Samurai Skeletor first. And yeah, here's a quick look with that Masterverse Horde Skeletor cloak on our Samurai Origins Skeletor. Check that out. Yeah, that fits really good and looks cool. And it does hang down a little bit, but it's not too bad as far as how it hangs on the floor. And now, once again, I just removed this helmeted head off that body. Kept the Masterverse Horde cloak on, Skeletor cloak on, put the head on that body. So you want to take a look at that setup. Yeah, this is a favorite Skeletor of mine. This head also works really well in anything, whether it's a Masterverse Skeletor or Origins, and so does that cloth cape. But I still want to keep as much of the samurai stuff on him, minus the head. And again, in the end, this head and setup is everything. So to me, it's just really about that, the cloth cloak. Okay, so jumping back over to the Masterverse Horde Skeletor body, obviously you can see, yeah, I broke a lot of stuff I can get off the body. These gauntlets, they kind of do work. You just snap onto the forearms for the most part. He doesn't have any type of other gauntlets. As you can see, they were bare arms. The Masterverse does have some loose ones, so you can find them, paint and make them for customs. But, so here's a problem with this armor. Now, I think it will work on the body, but these do not split apart at the arms. You know, they don't break apart at the waist. I wish they would have made them like that, like the Origins, the legs. I don't know why they didn't. You can remove the boots with heat and stuff like that. But, so I'm trying to slide this piece up over the legs, and it is possible, but this, loincloth pad kind of thing's in the way. Now, there is a way to remove these, as I said. It would have been a lot easier if these figures would break apart and they could just pop right off, done, but yeah, it's a process. It's not something I'm going to do on camera, or it's that easy to do. If you could, I can see this sliding up over the legs, waist, that kind of thing, but I'm going to break this, so I'm not even going to mess around with it. Even getting over the boots, yeah, it's giving me a lot of trouble. So that's the biggest downfall with this. Otherwise, it can go over the head, no problem, and I think if you can get that on the body, or maybe you can make a cut in here, I'm not going to do that. Just shouting out some custom ideas. It probably would work. So okay, so if I slide this down over the legs, that's how I try to get it up there, show you. All right, move this out of the way. So see what I mean? You can put this over the neck like that. This was sitting in the back. Yeah, and if you can get this around the body, slide it up, as I said, remove this, heat it up, this would definitely lock. So that piece would work. Now back to this. Here's another problem. Yeah, not going to... You'd have to remove this Yeah, even the legs. That's not going to work with this. You'd have to make a cut in here. If you could do that, wrap it around the hips, it would, yeah, it's kind of tricky. It looks like it might fit. It'd be close around that waist. You'd have to glue it or something like that. Would have been a cool setup. So it is possible, customization, gluing stuff, not something I'm going to do. But if you could do that, that would be a neat setup for this mask for Skeletor. And then, you know, you put the head on. Of course, the head would work. Fits the ball peg, articulates well, and all that good stuff. And then the last thing as far as customs is why I have the Samurai Skeletor armored head and everything back off the body, because of its own unique color, and I have the Horde Skeletor ripped apart. I just wanted to make a quick Horde Skeletor with this body tone of this Origins figure. So I just, yeah, put that armor back on the body, which fits perfect. This robe thing, which got to kind of mess around. We'll put the head on, so you want to take a look at that. Yeah, it's a pretty cool setup, I think, for the body, this Origins body. And then, of course, to take it one step further, just threw some Hordak boots on, our new Hordak Origin Skeletor. Yeah, that looks awesome. So it's a first release Hordak, took the boots off him. And now we have our, yeah, Horde Skeletor. I think that's, well, that came out really cool with the body, the armor, this cloth, and the head, because of the color of the skin. And the other thing I thought about doing was just throwing the cape off the Samurai Skeletor on this new Horde Origin Skeletor setup. So if you like the cloth cape, you want to see more of the armor, keep his head on the boots, it's kind of what it look like. Again, yeah, awesome setup. It just goes really cool with the color of this body. Alright, so moving on to another comparison, I want to call it a bonus as far as mixing a couple figures together. So yeah, once again, here's our Samurai Skeletor all dressed up against our mutated Ram Man, and this is the first release Origins Ram Man. Now, taking Skeletor out of the picture for a second, I thought it would be fun or cool if anybody's interested. Again, this is a little bonus for this video. I actually made a Ram Man out of these two figures. So, yeah, I got a loose... So I already reviewed this guy, it's pretty cool, but I picked up another loose one on eBay, the mutated Ram Man, and then, of course, a loose, like, broken... I think something was broken in the legs, first release Origins Ram Man. And I made this. Pretty cool. Now, I remember when I reviewed this, I was trying to mix parts around with both these two figures in my review. And I was uncertain about the boots. I couldn't get the boots off. But in the end, pretty much, so what I wound up doing between the two other figures, I used the head. All right, I took the original armor off the mutated Ram Man. I actually painted the body, if you can see that silver. I primed and painted it. I couldn't match this red color, but I did have silver to match this. And so it kind of looks like another silver plating or something under the main armor. It hides the neck, that purplish color in the neck, back here and under the arms. Yeah, so I put this Ram Man's arms into sockets, which worked. Uses two axes, I already mentioned the head. Moving down, just kept the legs off the mutated Ram Man. Now remove the feet. And what I found is that you can actually remove these boots by breaking them off. In my review, I couldn't get them off. They're not exactly pegged, but they are separate boots, and they go in with like a, I want to say like a square peg and glued. So I snapped these off, and I just put them up to these, and they kind of fit, but I had to glue them around both ends with some crazy glue. So you still have articulation because you can still spin at the knee, but it doesn't have foot articulation. These don't move, which is fine. But I got to say, that's awesome. I really like that. So now I have a newer style Origins Ram Man. Doesn't have the action feature, so I still have this one for that. But with the newer armor and look to match this mutated Ram Man figure, which I have a feeling they're going to reuse this buck or this armor to make another Ram Man down the road in Origins. Maybe. And moving forward to finish the video up, here's a quick comparison with all four figures, part of that Wave 3 Turtles of Grayskull line, right? So we have Michelangelo, Casey Jones, and the new Tila, and of course now our Samurai Skeletor. So I obviously reviewed all four of these, and Samurai Skeletor was last on the list, which we did today. I gotta say, it's a pretty solid wave. I really like all these figures. It's cool to finally get Mikey in the line to add to all four brothers. I really like Casey Jones too. That mask is pretty neat. That also does fit on a trap jaw or the Mauser jaw head. Somebody asked me in the comments. I don't even think to try that. Who would? But yeah, put it on. It fits pretty. It does fits good. I like the new design and colors of Tila. I put a 2000X Tila sword in her hand. She came with a Sai blade that same one as Raphael originally came with, and I actually gave that to Raphael, so he has two Sai blade now, going back to the continuity of the Turtles or the Turtles movie or something like that. So that's fine. It is what it is. But I gotta say, this Samurai Skeletor is definitely my favorite figure in this whole series. everything about him. I mean, you know, you can definitely make some cool customs with him or put parts on the figures or the Skeletor parts on him. I only showed a few things. I think for the most part, the way they built him is how he should stay. That's what I'm doing with my figure. And it's neat that you get a new Skeletor body or different color body too, and you can make it a Horde Skeletor. Again, what I showed, you know, in a video with the other Skeletor setup with that body. I also looked at my 2000X Skeletor body. I didn't bring him in, but it's different. It's blue. I thought it was the same color. It's not. It's very close to that Horde Massiverse Horde Skeletor body. Which again, you could make some cool customs. Really, you want to get into it, but for the most part, it's very limited. Aside that, I like him as he is, and definitely one of my favorites. So I appreciate everybody watching. And until next time, take care.